Alright everyone, today we're going to do a multi-time frame analysis of LTG. So medyo matunog tong stock ngayon, no? And I just wanted to cover it for everyone more comprehensively than what we typically do sa mga daily charting sessions natin. So if you haven't watched any of the charts we've covered before ng multi-time frame analysis, I'll put a link in the description box below, or the links to in the description box below to those previous videos para lang mas may idea din kayo. Okay? So what we do here is titignan natin, depende kung anong stock, no? So in the case of LTG, we'll start with the monthly chart and then slowly work our way down hanggang sa daily chart or sometimes even lower. Depende kung ano yung nakikita natin. Okay? So let's start. So LTG, nagkaroon tayo ng massive sell-off for the past 2 months. Okay? More than 2 months pa nga yata eh. For the past 2 months. Tapos this month, nagsimula na siyang bilhin ulit. Okay? So, for now, the monthly candle, simula tayo doon, no? So this monthly candle might form a bullish engulfing of depende kung saan siya mag-close. Right now, we're right about at the high of the previous candle. Okay, so it might form a bullish engulfing, which is not to say na ibig sabihin na itutuloy-tuloy na. It's just a positive sign na pwede nating tignan or gamitin when we're trying to look for future confluence or trying to form future trade ideas around LTG. Okay? So, kapag sa monthly chart lang mismo, ano ba ang nakikita natin? So, di ba ang nangyari was nag-form tayo ng high, low, lower high, lower low. Di ba? So right now, ang nagagawa pa lang natin is nagpo-form tayo ng potential lower high. Okay, wala pang kalinawan at least dito sa time frame na to kung ano nga ba talaga yung gusto niyang direction, at least in the long term. And if we're looking at monthly charts, obviously we're looking at the long term. Okay, pwedeng mangyari is aangat tayo ng konti, mauntog tayo around 12.5, then from there, reverse na naman. Again, this is purely based sa monthly chart, ha? Pwede tayong mauntog dyan, reverse, then we break 8.5, baba, revisit yung 5.5 area. Okay? So, based purely from the monthly chart, we're still looking at a very bearish trend. Okay? People can say na, baka kasi ito na yung higher low and then magpo-push tayo from there, but we don't know eh. Still too early to tell, again, based on this particular time frame. But it's good to look at kasi you want to be able to see what the candles are doing on a higher time frame kasi usually, yun yung bigger picture ng mga maliliit na candle na tinitignan natin sa mga mas mabababang time frames. Tapos, yung pagbili pa natin this month, mukhang may volume, natapos na magbenta yung foreign na nagtutulak nito pababa, no? Naubos na rin yata. So, let's see what happens from there. But overall, if you really look at it, yung fundamentals sa mga LTG, hindi rin naman all that great. Diba? You need to remember the companies that are under this umbrella, diba? Like PAL. And while some of them are doing better, some of them aren't doing all that great. Okay? Next, let's look at yung weekly chart niya. So, sa weekly chart, ano ang nangyayari? So, initially, if you watch yung mga daily charting sessions natin, no, I was looking for a possible pullback dito sa white na zone na to. Obviously, it skimmed it. It missed it by a little bit here, 'di ba? Tapos tumulak na siya pataas. And this week, nagkaroon na nga tayo ng buying pressure, kitang-kita from this candle, no? So nag-carve out tayo ng bottom, then this week tumuloy na. We push higher with this candle. Okay? And because of yung severe selling pressure dito sa area na to, walang direct na resistance or support na nag-form based on this time frame. Again, we're looking at a possible resistance at 12.5 pa. Okay, we can say na baka may resistance din dito at 11.5, but I wouldn't say na major resistance siya. At best, it's a minor resistance, something that we can look at once we go down to the lower time frames. Now, normally, sa mga monthly, hindi ko tinitingnan yung mga RSI and things like that kasi it's hard to determine its relevance dahil nga it takes so long for the next candle to form. Pero sa weekly, pwede na nating simulang tignan. So, number one, meron ba tayong divergence? Obviously, wala. Okay? Pwede natin sabihin may minor divergence dito pero malamang mas may kita yan sa daily than we can see it sa weekly. Are we above our SI 50? Wala rin, no? So far, again, sa weekly, all we're proving is, di ba, after this high, nagkaroon tayo ng head and shoulders dito, nag-breakdown tayo, and we might be looking at a potential bounce. Okay? Whether it's an actual reversal or a dead cat bounce, based on this time frame, again, a little too early pa to tell. Okay? Structurally speaking, we did break out of the range that formed here. So that's bullish in the sense, but in the bigger picture, we can see na too early pa na sabihin talaga na, okay, sige, reversal na yan. Okay, dapat bullish na tayo LTG to the moon na. But it's very encouraging to see this type of buying volume dito sa LTG. Okay, after ilang weeks, tira mo naman yung volume ng pagbenta dito. 'Di ba? Biriin mo, itong buy up nga na to. 'Di ba? Ito, walang sinabi dito eh. 'Di ba? So it's encouraging to see na yung volume ng pag-buyback medyo decent in comparison do sa volume ng pag-sell off for the past ilang months. Alright? Now, dito ba sa weekly may mahahanap tayong additional support or resistance na pwede natin gamitin for forming trade ideas if necessary sa lower time frames pa? I would argue, okay, na the best that we can do is possibly, let me just remove this, okay? Possibly moving this previous support or resistance area here up to here. Okay, and the reason for that being, meron kasi tayong etong candle na to that tried to fight back, tas nag-reject tayo. I am sure na sa daily, magiging mas clear tong level na to. Nag-fight back sa reject. Tapos, dito rin tayo initial na naghanap ng support. So, tuloy-tuloy yung baksak. Dito nagkaroon tayo ng somewhat a little longer na wick lumaban ng konti. 'Di ba? So, meron tayong area of confluence. Tapos, if we look here to the left-hand side of the chart, we can see na before, at least, nag-act tong area to as consolidation prior to this move down here. So, we can expect na this area, again, can act as somewhat of a barrier, which we proved this week, sa possible na tuloy-tuloy na pagtaas ng LTG. And I say possible na pagtaas kasi we need to temper our expectations. Huwag po natin pangungunahan ang market. Okay? So that's one thing, no? What else can we take away from this time frame? From this time frame, similar sa monthly natin, kitang-kita na itong area na to, bilugan ko na lang, okay? Meron talagang previous support dyan na highly likely will act as resistance as price moves higher if it ever gets there. Kasi it's always possible, as we discussed, na mag-form na lang tayo somewhere around here, or maybe it won't even reach there. Baka ito na yon yung high. Then from there, tumulak na tayo pababa. Diba? We don't know eh. But what we do know is if price does push higher, then this is a possible strong area of support / resistance. Or rather resistance kasi on the way up siya. Pero support siya dito. Okay? So, yun yung napapansin natin sa weekly. Again, volume is very strong. That's a good sign. Okay? But other than that, not really much else to look at. Okay? Now, let's go down to the daily time frame. And in the daily time frame, what can we see? So, sa daily time frame, I mentioned the other day sa daily charting session. So, try nyo na lang hanapin yung video na yun, no? It's actually good to go through yung mga daily charting sessions kasi it allows us an opportunity na hindi common sa ganitong channel na napag-uusapan natin consistently yung isang stock tapos nababantayan natin yung galaw niya. 'Di ba? Nababantayan natin na sama-sama and nakikita nyo rin kung ano yung either consistent na thoughts or bias ko sa isang bagay or mga paano ako nagpapalit at bakit ako nagpapalit ng bias or bakit ako nagpapalit ng pag-iisip along the way. So we were discussing na merong inverted head and shoulders sa area na to and then we broke out of the trend line here. 'Di ba? I personally wanted to look for a potential pullback to get into the trade pero hindi nagbigay. It just broke up and then headed for our next level of resistance which was at 10.32. Now, why did I want a pullback? Kasi I thought na since hindi naman sobrang lakas pa yung break ng candle na to, itong particular candle na to, 'di ba? If you look at it here, yung RSI nga niya below 50 pa eh. 'Di ba? I am adding RSI to our charting right now just as an added confluence ha guys, para lang tulong to view the bigger picture and to help explain yung ibang decision making or thought making process natin. So at this point, hindi pa nga siya nag-break above RSI 50, itong breakout na to. So I was thinking na kaya ko makuha to on a pullback to this area, targeting tong 10.3. Unfortunately, yung next candle niya tumalon agad dito. And for me, pag ganyan, walang habol-habol yan. Kasi yung risk mo, nandito yung stop out. And then I was only targeting 10.3. So obviously, hindi magandang risk-reward. Okay? So, enough about that. Continue tayo sa binabasa natin. So right now, ano ang nangyari? As we discuss sa daily charting sessions din, nauntog yung price around tong 10.3 area, no? So again, di natin pwedeng asahan na porket nandito yung level natin, kailangan saktong-sakto lagi. What we do know is price is currently playing around this area, so it is acting as a resistance of sorts, as evidenced by itong mga long wicks ng price trying to move higher pero binibentahan. Okay, binibentahan. So, para maging bullish siya ulit from here, okay, kailangan either ma-break niya tong high na to para masabi natin, okay, sige, yung mga nagbebenta rito, natalo na ng mga buyers. Kasi right now, 'di ba? Sellers are stepping in eh. Sellers are stepping in this area of previous consolidation kasi maaaring may mga sumalo dito. Nakita nila, nagko-consolidate na yung LTG. So pwede na tayong bumili dito in the hopes na we push higher. So yung mga naipit na ganon, anong gagawin nila pag lumalapit na diyan yung price? Syempre, lalabas na sila. 'Di ba? Nakalabas ka na ng buhay eh. Or at the very least, they're gonna trim their position para lang masabi na, okay, sige, nandito na eh. So bawasan natin ng konti para kung hindi tumuloy, at least mas maliit yung potential ko na talo. 'Di ba? So we're right around that area now, no? Doon tayo nagkakaroon ng bentahan. So ngayon, ang tinitingnan natin is kailangan mabasag natin 'to para mag-resume yung buying pressure at least again from this particular time frame. Now, if it pulls back dito, 'di ba? Number one, we need to understand na itong pattern na 'to, itong inverted head and shoulders, na-meet na niya yung pattern target niya. So let's just show that really quick, baka sabihin niyo binobola ko kayo, 'di ba? So from here, okay, papunta around there. If you step it up from here, ito yung high, no? Actually, kahit na from here, lagpas na tayo sa target natin. 'Di ba? Na-exceed na natin yung pattern target na yun. So we wouldn't be looking for that particular pattern anymore with regards sa paghahanap ng potential na setup. What we are looking at is yung resistance, previous resistance sa area na to, na if price does pull back, might act as support. 'Di ba? Kasi decent resistance nito. Ilang beses siya nauntog dito, untog dyan, untog dito, then breakout. We never pulled back. So if it pulls back there, we're looking to see if ito could act as potential support. Kasi nga, it used to act as resistance. And as we know, normally, kapag ang resistance nabasag, pag binalikan, it tends to act as support. Okay? Sa daily time frame, obviously, meron na tayong structural shift, meaning nagkaroon na tayo ng itong low, high, higher low, tas ngayon may higher high. So, what we could be looking for, one of the things we could be looking for is a potential higher low to see if from there, okay, pwedeng tumulak pa even higher. Now, bakit di natin isipin na ito na kaagad yung higher low? Okay? Bakit hindi yan? Bakit kailangan mag-pull back? Kasi syempre, based on this particular time frame, 'di ba, may distance pa to travel. Remember, lagi nating dinidiscuss na mga ganitong usually sunod-sunod na green candles na moves, eventually na nakakain at nakakain ulit. So, I put the same expectation sa mga ganito. 'Di ba? I am not saying that it's gonna pull back this far. Hindi natin malalaman 'yun eh. For all we know, ang pullback natin is sabihin natin, baka ang pullback natin is something like this lang. So we will be looking at structure along the way din. 'Di ba? And again, if you follow our daily charting sessions, at least sasabayan nyo kung may nakikita tayong mga changes. So, baka shallow pullback lang. In fact, pwede rin na yung parang quote-and-quote, pinaka-pullback niya is just consolidation around this area. Around this area of previous support or previous consolidation, now turned resistance. So, we don't know. Okay? But we're preparing ourselves kasi sa daily, nagkakaroon na siya ng mga positive signs. RSI is above 50, obviously. Yung buying volume is decent, pero yung selling volume niya, so far, mas mababa kaysa doon sa mga bumibili. So far. Diba? Again, based on this particular time frame. So that's also a good sign, no? Just let me delete these para hindi tayo sa masyadong cluttered. Okay, so those are all good signs. However, yun nga, just buying outright isn't always the solution kasi minsan ayaw rin naman natin maka-experience ng severe drawdown. So we want to be able to time our entries better, and by doing what we're doing right now, meaning we're looking at it from a multi-time frame perspective, we know na sa monthly time frame, overall, it's still bearish. Diba? Ulitin natin. It's still bearish overall. Hindi pa natin masabi na, yung structure niya napaka-bullish na. Just because we have a bullish candle doesn't mean that we have a bullish reversal or bullish move sa monthly time frame. Sa weekly, ganun din. Yes, it's pushing higher, but from here, we can see na it could easily form a lower high and then push lower from there. Sa daily lang tayo, may unang signs na nagpapakita na, teka, meron na tayong low, higher, low, high, higher low, and then higher high. So, doon tayo magsisimulang maghanap. Diba? But we cannot forget na sa higher time frames, meron pa ring bearish bias overall. So, that means we need to be careful sa mga ginagawa natin. Kasi kung kunwari, titignan nyo yung mga parang asin, pag tinignan nyo sa mga monthly, obvious naman na bullish eh. Diba? Mga EMP, obvious naman na bullish eh. So, mas madaling magsabi na, okay, buy on dips. Kasi the higher time frame agrees with you. Pero sa LTG, that's not necessarily the case. So, mas maingat tayo, mas naghahanap tayo ng mga pullbacks, mas naghahanap tayo ng better opportunities rather than trying to chase price for what potentially could be fool's gold. Okay? Now, from here, let's go down one last time frame. Okay? Sa hourly time frame para lang mas kita nyo yung sinasabi ko na move, no? So, sa hourly time frame, ano ang nangyayari? Ano pa yung added confluence kung bakit tayo naghahanap ng potential na pullback? Number one, yung RSI, we traded above 70 here. Tapos nagkaroon na tayo ng pullback. Tapos nag-act na as resistance tong RSI 70. Okay, so kung nakikita nyo dito, nag-act na as resistance tong RSI 70. And even though it's looking like we're consolidating in this area, RSI is actually slowly moving downward. Okay, again, I don't base my trading decisions sa RSI, but it's just something that, nice to look at. Tapos, yung sinasabi natin na pwedeng mangyari sa daily na magko-consolidate in this range, nangyayari na nga siya sa hourly. Diba? So, pag nabasag to, okay, since price is fractal, meaning what it could do sa daily, it can also do in other time frames and so on, then we're expecting na mabasag tong range na to, then we might revisit yung previous resistance na could turn support nga from here. But, looking at the hourly time frame, mas nagiging visible yung potential reversal niya, yung potential bullishness. And again, I say potential kasi sa higher time frames, against us pa rin yung bias, no? So dito, di ba, tuloy-tuloy yung pababa, obvious naman. Then dito, nagkaroon tayo ng low, high, higher low, tapos na nga yung higher high. Same sa daily. So that's something to watch out for lang moving forward. Alright? So I hope na na-enjoy nyo tong multi-time frame analysis natin ng LTG. Kung bumili man kayo either before, naipit kayo, or baka kakabibili nyo pa lang. Diba? Bumili kayo nung nag-dip sa 8. If so, congratulations, no? So, sana magamit nyo to as a roadmap for future trading decisions, future trading plans when it pertains to LTG. And if you found this video helpful or educational, or you liked it, if you found it entertaining, I would really appreciate it if you give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. And as always, guys, no, maraming salamat sa panonood. Good luck and happy trading!